Today is going to be 37 of our Sutta discussion series. PATTAKAMMA Sutta's another section will be covered today. Today we are going to discuss about the accomplishment in Sila. That means we discussed about the 4 wishes long time ago. And at the end, the Buddha says that if somebody wants to accomplish the 4 wishes, that person has to accomplish these 4, another 4 spiritual qualities. And last Monday, we discussed about the first accomplishment, that was Saddha, trust about the Buddha initially, and it also includes Dhamma and Sangha. And today, we are discussing about Sila. That means in order for you to, as a layperson, to fulfill your wishes, lay people wishes, you need to have some sort of Sila. So we have to discuss about Sila that is relevant to your life, right? Sila can be discussed from many angles, many perspectives. Let me again remind you the 4 wishes. The first wish of a layperson is to have wealth, acquire wealth in righteous ways. Second wish is to, after acquiring wealth in a righteous way, layperson wants to have reputation, good reputation. That reputation has to come naturally. The third wish is, now when layperson has money acquired from righteous ways, and then good reputation come from in a good way as well. And then the third wish is to live longer, to enjoy the life. And then finally, there is a wish that is to be reborn in a good place, in a better place. So this is what we've been discussing as the wishes. So in order to fulfill these 4 wishes, a layperson should have lots of trust about the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. That the other day, we were talking about how to make trust, how to create trust in your life. Let me ask you, how to make the trust? We have to understand the 9 great qualities of the Buddha. I think in the last Monday's notes, you can see those 9 great qualities and how you need to understand them. So the more you understand those 9 great qualities, the more saddha you are creating for yourself. Otherwise, saddha is not just a devotion. A lot of people, they misunderstand. Saddha to them is a devotion only. Just a simple devotion. But yes, there is a devotion. But that devotion has to come from an understanding that the Buddha possesses 9 great qualities. Actually, if you want to know more about saddha, then you need to have good understanding about the 6 great qualities of the Dhamma. Not even Buddha and Dhamma, but also you need to have a good understanding about 9 great qualities of the Sangha. That is a full, complete way of being into sattva. But here we understand it is basically to understand about the Buddha's 9 great qualities. Okay, without further ado, let's jump into the Sila Sampada. Let's see the text first. How did the Buddha give that? This is how the Buddha describes about Sila Sampada in the PATTAKAMMA Sutta. Katamacha Gahapati Sila Sampada Ida Gahapati Arya Savako Panati Pata Pativirato Bhoti. The rest we have to understand. Adinadana Pativirato Bhoti. Kamesu Michachara Pativirato Bhoti. Musavada Pativirato Bhoti. Suramiraya Majjapamadattana Pativirato Ayam Uchati Gahapati Sila Sampada. Now, what is the layperson Sila? Is it something very big? No, it is just the practice of 5 precepts. What is the Pali word for the 5 precepts? Pancha Sila. Pancha Sila. Pancha means 5. Sila in that way we understand morality. So basically, a layperson should continue practicing 5 precepts. Actually, a lot of people, they are confused. Sometimes they have the precepts. Now, there are 2 things to understand. Sila and Sikha. There are 2 things. Sila. And here, Sikha. 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 Because Panatipata Veramani, Sikha. Pada. Adinadana Veramani, Sikha. Sikha. Sikha means? What does Sikha means? Any thoughts? Sikha means a precept. You want to practice keep your sila, so you need precept to do. Don't worry about 8 precepts. Here, as a layperson, you are going to practice 5 precepts. Right? Before we go there, let's understand sila. So I'm going to go to the notes, but today's notes have to be further revised. I'm going to revise again, so don't print out that. Probably by tomorrow you can see the final version. But by now, I'm going to show you this part. What is sila? Is sila Buddha's innovation? Or sila is something that was before the Buddhas? What is the Buddha's idea about sila? We have to discuss those things initially. Now, even before the Buddha started his Sangha, probably his everything, there was a very famous, and there was and there is, even now, religious order, we call it Jainism. Jainism, Jains, Nigantanath Buddha's teachings. Nigantanath Buddha or Mahavira, he practiced a lot of sealers. Now, those sealers even went insofar as not taking showers, not cleaning oneself, and it went up to so many very difficult practices. Now, the Buddha's question is that sila has to be practiced with a purpose. If that particular practice of sila does not lead to become a better person on one side, on the other side, it does not help someone to attain nibbana, then that sila is not a Buddhist sila. We call it a silabbata paramas. What do you call it? We call it as a silabbata paramas. Silabbata, silavata. It is a compound term. So the Buddha did not like that. He removed silabbata. That means you don't need unnecessary sila. You only need certain sila requirements in order to become a better person, and then to additionally to attain nibbana, to end your samsara. So please keep in mind, we have a very difference. We have to understand the difference between the Buddhist sila and the sila before the Buddha's time. But during the Buddha's time, in other person's sila, especially the Jain sila and sila of other people. So there's a huge difference between those two. Because you can remember what 5 ascetics, Panchavaggiya Bhikkhu told the Buddha. Panchavaggiya Bhikkhu told the Buddha that you should not eat, or many, I would say, many probably days, probably long term, and then you can't eat, and then you can't take showers. And so there were a lot of things that he practiced from 5 ascetics. So those practices, they are mostly from the Jains, from the Mahavira's practices. So they are unnecessary sealers. One day when the Buddha was, walking somewhere, he found out certain Jains. They were practicing very extreme sila. They were naked actually. It is also a sila, naked, being naked, because they are torturing themselves. Finally, sila will take you to torturing, probably giving a lot of pain. And then they were naked and they were trying to expose to, I would say, heat, hot sun. And then the Buddha asked them, what are you doing over there? What is your purpose of doing this thing? Then the Jains told the Buddha, Bhante, we are trying to pay the cost of our past karmas. We are trying to pay the cost of our past karmas. Now, their purpose of practicing sila was to pay for the bad karmas they may have done in a past life. Even some people in our societies may have this kind of thought that the more they exposed to pain, they think that their bad karmas will be finished, right? So the Jains had the same idea. Then the Buddha asked them, then how much bad karmas you already paid off? Then they said they don't know. So their purpose of practicing those kind of very extreme things was to pay for the bad karmas. Buddha said, we never know. Just be a good person. You don't have to be very extreme on the practice, extreme on your sila. So the Buddhist sila is different from sila of other religions, other philosophers, other teachings. That's why now for a lay person over here, you can see the Buddha only recommended 5 precepts. Why did the Buddha recommend only 5 precepts? Now you might perhaps think that I can also take 8 precepts. Is it very easy for all of you to practice 5 precepts in a day, on a daily basis? What do you think? Even to practice the 5 precepts is also very challenging, isn't it? Right? So it is better to stick to the 5 precepts, because then you are becoming a better person. If you go to 8 precepts, you will see the number of precepts can be little more than 5, but that has a different purpose. But 5 precepts are very much enough. So in order for you to become a person who is going to accomplish sila, you need to definitely maintain. Some people, they practice sila on a day, but then they are going to lose them. You need to practice and then continue practicing of the 5 precepts. So then in that case, now I tell you today, Buddhist sila and non-Buddhist sila, they are 2 different silas, especially the sila of the Jains, Niganta sila. Because Niganta sila is just to pay off the bad karma, and it's too extreme. There is no purpose to attain Nibbana. So we have to understand that Buddhist sila has a difference. With that understanding, now let's go into the Pali word called sila. Sila. Now, sila in our Dhamma path, our spiritual journey, represents a very important aspect. Why is it? Before we are going to do any good karma, we must have certain level of sila. Does sila have certain degrees when the way how people practice sila? Yes. Let's say there is someone who is going to do a dana, offer dana to venerable monks, maybe give something to somebody. But if that person has no sila, that dana will create less good karma. Right? So the Buddha says that it is very important to be virtuous before doing any good karma, even if you start from dharma. What about a very good example? Meditation. We all like to meditate, right? In order for you to meditate well, you must have continued practicing Sila. Why is it? Sila is very helpful for you to stay focused. So, number one is that it is very important to have the Sila at the beginning. And on the other hand, Sila is the only way by which we can reduce our regrets, remorse about our life. Now, if you look at your past many years, maybe your life, if you happen to feel like you are very remorseful about your life, it is mostly the timings or events where you could not practice certain Sila. At least you could not even practice the bare minimum 5 precepts. So that's why Sila is important initially before doing any good karma. Be that dana, bhavana, patti, pattanumodana, or whatever the good virtues. Even if you take any virtue, be that a dana, maybe a meditation, dhamma talk, dhamma discussion, retreat, right? So Sila is mandatory. Without Sila, you are not able to feel that purity, feel that what you call the flow in your spiritual journey. That's very important. Not even it is very important to have it at the beginning, but also Sila is the only way you can minimize your remorse. What is the Pali word for remorse? Regret. What is it? It is one of the 5 hindrances. You can see under a compound term, uddacha kukkucha. So the Pali term for remorse is kukkucha. This one. Kukkucha. Kukkucha. Kukkucha means remorse. Kukkucha means remorse. That means if you practice Sila very well, 5 precepts, basically initially, then you are minimizing any chances of having kukkucha, right? Now, there are people who are going to practice meditation. They say, I have a big issue. What is the big issue? I am very remorseful. I am very regretful about my Dhamma journey. Some of my worries come from kukkucha. Then what can I do to kukkucha? Let go. How to let go? Can I just let go by thinking, hey, I done a bad karma in my past, few years back, even yesterday maybe, I had to let go. Can you let go just by thinking? No, you have to have an action. See the answer, right? That means you must have a certain Sila to let go. You can't just let go by thinking, hey, I want to let go of my bad past. I want to let go of those people. You must have a certain Sila to, help you letting go. So that thing is very important. That's why Sila is very important. It's not an isolated quality. But this Sila has to be properly practiced. You don't need to be very much, too much onto Sila, but just understand how does Sila relate in your life and then continue practicing. All right, now, there are many English translations for Sila. Say good conduct, they say virtue, we could say morality, maybe discipline. Is discipline very important in our practice? Is discipline very important? It is very important, right? You can't do anything without discipline. Even if you want to give a dana, do a meditation, listening to Dharma, practicing, even to be tolerant, even to forgive yourself, even to forgive others, you need a lots of discipline. That discipline part, you will get that discipline part from Sila, but not unnecessary Sila, not too less Sila. Basically, the 5 precepts. So now we know the word called Sila. Then there's another Pali word called Sikha. What is Sikha? When you want to be moral, then you need to probably pick up certain precepts. Now in your practice, you are going to practice 5 precepts. We call them Pancha Sikha, right? But at times you will practice what you call 8 precepts. There's a sutta in the Sutta Nipata. This is a sutta where Buddha told people to practice Sutta Nipatas. Sutta Nipatas, Dhammika Sutta. Dhammika Sutta. About the 8 precepts. This is the place where Buddha recommended 8 precepts, but it's not mandatory. You may do it on a full moon day. Your main sila is 5 precepts. Now here Buddha says, your sila sampada, if you want to accomplish, let me ask you, do you think that people are accomplishing in their sila, or they are just trying to practice in their own way? If they are practicing sila very well, they must be able to accomplish in sila. Accomplishment is very important. There may be somebody who is reading a lot, who is practicing a lot, but they are not still able to accomplish in that practice to a certain extent. So accomplishment in terms of sila is very important. How can you accomplish in sila? It is only by practicing the 5 precepts continuously. All right, now let's talk about 5 precepts. That's important, right? 5 precepts. Who was the first person to ask people to practice 5 precepts? Was it the Buddha? Oh, the 5 precepts. Was the teaching of 5 precepts pre-Buddhist? Was it given by the Buddha, or was it given by somebody maybe long before the Buddha's time? What do you think? 5 precepts was not laid down by the Buddha. It is an ancient teaching. It's a very ancient teaching. But the way how 5 precepts are being practiced by people, the way how the Buddha explained 5 precepts is different from how other teachers explain 5 precepts. That thing we have to understand. We have to understand how did the Buddha explain this 5. Now let's take the first precept. Panatipata, Veramani, Sikkhapadan, Samadhiya. Panatipata. Panatipata means? Pana means a living being, basically a human. Basically a human. Then you can go down to other beings. Basically a human. And then Atipata. This thing we have to understand. Atipata. I'm going to, Pana. Pana is a living being. Living being. Then we have called Atipata. Pata means fall down. Ati. Now fall down. Ati means you are causing a being's life to fall down abruptly. Pata. Pata means patati. Pali, we have a word called patati. Patati means, we have it right in. Patati. Patati means fall. 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 Fall from what? That being's life. You are causing a being's life to fall abruptly or maybe strategically. Pana atipata. Pana means a living being. Pata means fall. But then atipata means you are causing the life of a being to fall off from that life. That is panatipata. Just be careful initially about other beings, other human beings. Sometimes there are a lot of human beings who are really caring, loving other animals, but they are not giving the same metta to other human beings. Right? There are different people in society. They are very much loving other beings. Right? So we have to, in the first place, we have to take care of other human beings. Then the rest of the beings. Because human beings are the ones we are interacting in our daily life, right? On a daily basis. So how not to do panatipata? We have to be very much careful about how things can happen, how panatipata can happen in our life. What could be the reason for panatipata? Anger, hatred, ill will is the very immediate cause. We call it vyapada. Then we have to stop creating vyapada. That's the answer. If we take care of our thoughts from vyapada, no panatipata will come. Right? It is a big issue in today's world. Huh? Because there are a lot of massacres happening, shootings happen, stabbings happen. Still, we have to understand a lot of people cannot understand the importance of a life. That's why in Buddhism, we are trying to say, understand about the preciousness of other humans in the first place. Then you are going to minimize about vyapada thoughts, ill will thoughts. Panatipata can happen from many ways. Now, one way, the very regular way is that you don't know how to take care of your vyapada. How not to have vyapada, ill will. Then we must create a lot of metta. If we have a lot of metta, then there is a very lesser chance of having vyapada. That means we have to always create more metta to us, more metta to other people. Always keep the metta practice all the time. So ill will can be stopped. So that there is no panatipata in that case. Otherwise, don't try to think that not to kill is the way. We have to find out what conditions cause me to break this panatipata. In Buddhism, we are very much concerned about the conditions. When conditions arise, people are going to do bad things. They are very good people without the conditions. But when conditions arise, that means when hatred arises, when ill will arises, they are very incapable of practicing 5 precepts. So if you know more about the conditions, then we are very good people all the time. Not in the temple, not during the Sutta study, not during a retreat. We are good all the time, 24/7, 365. Let's understand the conditions, how conditions will take us to breaking precepts. So number one is panatipata. My advice to you is that try to be very careful about the conditions that take you to break in the first precept. But what are the conditions? Try to lower events that will take you to ill will, vyapada. How to do it? Practice metta as much as you can. Metta practice will take you to that level. so that you are always ready not to pose any panatipata, right? And then what about the second one? Now, at the same time, you have to understand that there are issues with other religious traditions when it comes to panatipata. Now, if you look at some other traditions like Nigantanatha Buddhist tradition, they are kind of very extreme about panatipata. They said, not even this kind of killing, but also you are not supposed to do certain things like don't drink water drawn from the lakes and rivers. Then his followers, they start to, not to drink water taken from the rivers and lakes. And they were asked initially, eventually, you need to boil the water, right? You boil the water and drink the water. But Jains didn't know when you boil the water, you are killing all this bacteria, right? But as Buddhists, we cannot be like this. Yeah, we have to take care of our life. We are not boiling the water just to kill the bacteria in the water, right? So we are not looking at that particular event that way. But James said, no, you can't even drink water. You can't even drink, water that is not boiled. But they didn't understand that when you are boiling, this is happening. So at the same time, they said you cannot walk without sweeping the floor. You have to bring a broom. Bring a broom, sweep the floor before you walking, and then you go by. There may be some tiny creatures on the ground there. Is it practical? Can you bring a broom everywhere where you go? Would that be a practical thing? That is not going to be practical. You might be a little bit a funny person, no? Like a witchcraft person, bringing a broom everywhere you go. They said you sweep the floor before you touching that part. Step on that kind of level. Step that area of the floor. Buddha said, if you know that there are certain creatures, then you can do it. But if you don't see them, this is not going to be practical. Even if you take a very practical example, you are having a cough. You can't cure your cough, and then doctor will give you a medication like a syrup. And what does the syrup do is that it will force you to be drowsy, sleepy, then the syrup is going to work on. What is happening is that syrup is going to take down the bacteria, right? But what if you think, okay, I cannot go see the doctor because this syrup will kill all the bacteria, right? And so then you are harming yourself because you are going to be more sick, then you are going to die just because you are going to save that kind of microorganism. But the Buddha says you have to take care of yourself. You are not looking at being healthy or taking meds to make you healthy in a way that you are going to kill other animals, tiny beings. So Buddhism looks at panatipata in a very practical way. Right? But if you see that there are certain animals with your naked eyes, you are going to help them out, probably going to clean them before. But other than that, you are not going to be not impractical about those events. It will be very practical. Now, let's say you are driving on the highway, right? It's a very good example. You are driving on a highway. Suddenly, there is a certain animal who is crossing the highway. A lot of cars coming behind you. You are going to think, I'm like very much curious and careful about other animals. I got to stop my car before I run over this animal. Can you stop your car on the highway at that point? What will you do at that point? You are going to create a very risky situation. You're going to stop and other cars cannot stop in time. They're going to crash onto you. Many people are going to die. Right? That's why Buddhism teaches us a practical seal, not an impractical seal. That is the James one. Practicing the practical sila means that there should be a sila we could practice practical, not impractical. Right? And the purpose of practicing sila is to become a better person and more importantly, attain Nibbana. Right? Other than that, don't try to practice sila bata paramas. This word I have to write down for you. It's a compound word. This is what the Jains did. Silapat. Silapat. This is a compound term. Huh? This has two words. Sila is one word. Vata means water. Vata means cult. Cult. Sila attached to cults. The meaning of this word is Sila attached to cults. Have you ever seen some Buddhist people practicing cults? C-U-L-T-S. Are they? In some countries, they practice not Sila, they are practicing Silapathas. Why? Culture. Because of the cultural events, they have added certain cults. We are not going to criticize anybody, they have their own ways. But the Buddha said, don't bring cults to your sila. The moment you bring cults to your sila, you will never become a sotapanna. Because if you want to become a sotapanna, there are 3 fetters you have to own. Sila bata paramas is one of them. Sakkaya ditti, vicikiccha, sila bata paramas. Buddha knew that a lot of people practice sila in the wrong way. They practice sila in the wrong way. So they must practice sila in the right way. That's why the Buddha said, be practical. Be practical when you practice sila. All right, that is panatipata. That means we have to be very practical. Practical doesn't mean that we do the way we want. We are really compassionate. We are really kind to us and to other beings. But we have to understand how to practice it in the modern world, in our life. We cannot practice sila like in the 6th century BC, right? Can we? We cannot. Because this is not that time anymore, right? We have to practice it in the proper way according to our situation, timing. Second sila is, let's go to the text here. Panatipata. Pativirato means you are going to abstain. Huh? Abstain from panatipata. Pativirato. Pati. Actually, pati means continue. Continue. Virato. Continue abstaining. Because this is also another part of sila. Some people practice sila on one day. Maybe when their mood is good, they practice it. Buddha said, no, that's not enough. Pativirato. Continue practicing. Continue practicing, not just one day, not on a retreat. I'm so good. Who is bad on a retreat? Who is going to be unwholesome in a retreat? Let me ask you. Who is going to be a bad person in a retreat? Their mood is good. They are already having good sila. But the Buddha said, this sila has to come to our normal life. That means we have to continue practicing. That is why it is said, pati viratu. Continue abstaining from the wrong side of the sila. Then, now we go to the adinnadana. Adinnadana means, let's try to see a deep combination of words. Huh? Adinnadana. Adinnadana. Now let's take out this part. Dinnadana. Dinnadana means dinnadana. That means you are only accepting what other people gave to you. You are not going to take what is not belong to you. Right? So when you add adinnadana, things that were not given to you. That is called Adinadana. Adinadana is a very big, also a very large level of precept. That means you are not going to take what is owned by other people. Let's say even you are not going to sexually misconduct. Maybe somebody is a part of somebody else's family. You understand? I'm not going to steal other people's belongings. Not even I'm not taking any thing that is not owned by me. I return what is not owned by me. I'm very true to myself. I'm very honest to myself. One day you are going to achieve everything. Those people who have been very honest to them, they will accomplish everything one day. That's why the Buddha said Adinadana is very important. Those people who have done Adinadana in their past life, they receive things sometimes, but then they are losing stuff, lose their profits, they lose their people, they lose their money. Why? They have taken other people's stuff by force or maybe secretly. So as a layperson, don't need to be complicated. Just be honest to yourself. Don't take what is not owned by you, what is not belong to you. Just practice like that. That is Adinadana Vera. Not even Adinadana Vera, Adinadana Pativirato. Pati means continue abstaining from taking what's not given. Continue. Continuous practice. Then the third one is, remember there's a nice story, actually, very good story. I can't remember the exact sutta. There was a monk who went to a tree and then he smelled a flower. Then the Deva came to that place. Deva said, "You are a thief." Because you are a thief. He said, "Why? This tree is not belong to you. You can't come and smell this tree, the flowers." That is how Deva thinks. Because it is said that all these trees, they carry tree spirits, Rukha Devata. Right? That means we are supposed to be very careful about what we don't own. That will really help us understand more about what we have and what we don't have. Third one is Kamesu Michachara. Kamesu means sensuality, Michachara, misconduct. This is more about sexual misconduct for a layperson. Right? So, how to do it? The most important thing when it comes to sexual misconduct is respecting other people's relationship, at the same time not cheating on the persons. Like in the what do you call Nakula Pitu Sutta in the Anguttara Nikaya, where Nakula Mata, Nakula Pita, this couple, they were 500 lifetimes Buddha's mother and father. They were Sotapannas. They went to the Buddha and then they told the Buddha, Bhante, ever since I married to Nakula Mata, for probably 40 years, I even did not have a single thought of going to another lady. What about my physical actions? I had never cheated on. And after that, Nakula Mata is saying the same thing. Bhante, ever since I was married to this man, Nakula Pita, I didn't have even a single thought of any other man. What about physical action? So we both want to be reborn together. Sotapanna people. Sotapanna couple, one Sotapanna couple is telling the Buddha, Bhante, we have not cheated even in thoughts. We want to be reborn in the next life together. Is it possible? Very interesting. Buddha said, yes, you can. Taking a risk for another life should be okay because we already Sotapannas. Even Sotapannas want to be reborn together as a couple. There may be a person in this life who want to become a monk just to become a Sotapanna, isn't it? But this couple as lay people, they became Sotapanna by being lay people. And they want to be reborn together. In today's world, there may be a layperson who wants to simply become a Sotapanna, wants to become a monk, wants to become a nun. You have to think about contrast between these two. Is it very necessary? Is it very necessary for me to become a monk? Is it very necessary for me to become a nun? If you want to become so, you can go ahead. But in order to achieve spiritual attainment, it might not be necessary. Because whether you wear the robes or not, it is your training the mind, training your thoughts. You might think your lay life is a very difficult place. You have to think about how you're going to look at it. You are not supposed to be someone who is running away from the problems, who is going to overlook the lay life. Right? Anyways, Kamasumichachara simply means not cheating on your other person, better partner, half. That means you are going to practice sila, a very good sila between two of you. At the same time, you are not. That will never take you to misconduct, sexual misconduct. There are more information, but I'm not trying to say everything. But just to tell you, not cheating on each other, even in a thought. Because today there are a lot of temptations to many, right? Wherever you go, you have a lot of temptations. When the temptations are coming to you, you are trying to understand the temptation. This is a temptation. I'm not going to be a victim to that temptation. I'm a strong person. My eyes, my ears, my nose, my tongue, my body, my mind, stronger than those temptations. Might be challenging to all of us. Dhamma is a little challenging. It's not a fairy tale, but you are trying to strengthen your indriyas, and you are practicing saddha, virya, sati, samadhi, panya, those spiritual faculties, so that you are able to understand those temptations and then to act accordingly in a better way. The fourth precept is called musavada for a lay person. How to practice musavada in your lay life? I think you may have a lot of questions at the end. Can I tell a white lie? Number one is that try to be surrounded by among kalyanamit, so you don't have to be bad all the time. When you are with kalyanamitas, you don't have to even think about a white lie, because they are not making your life very complicated. But when you are with unnecessary people, you have to protect them. You have to defend them. So you are carried out by a lot of unnecessary things. That's why the Buddha said, the first blessing in our life that we can achieve is being with the kalyanamitas. Where did the Buddha say that? Asevana cha balana panditana cha sevana. First blessing in our life is not going to a temple and listen to a Dhamma talk. First blessing is being with the kalyanamitas, wise people. One day, Bhante Ananda was telling the Buddha, Bhante, I think 50% of our spiritual journey depends on the kalyanamitas. Buddha said, no, don't tell like that. The complete spiritual journey, Noble Eightfold Path journey to Nibbana, consists of kalyanamitas. Sometimes you know a lot of Dhamma. You want to practice, but you cannot practice. Why? You are with the unwise people. You are with the Mahapamitas. Your life, the way how you are doing with other people is not okay. That means, in order for you not to tell a lie, first thing is always try to be surrounded by the Kalyanamita. So you don't have to lie. I mean, I'm talking about those people who are very conscious about lying, but they say, no, we can't help not lying actually because of reasons. So for them, they can choose to be with the right people, Kalyanamitas. Now, the other aspect of this lying is what you call the truthful speech. That means speaking the truth. This is very important in our life. Because you see everywhere nowadays, there are misinformation, even on internet, right? If you go to Google something on internet, a lot of information on Google, they are not verified information, isn't it? They are not verified information. Maybe people have been adding misinformation. If you want to go to a verified information, you have to go to a certain verified website, even for medical information. Otherwise, don't type and search things from misinformation websites. Dhamma is also the same. If you want to learn the true Dhamma, you have to search the proper places of Dhamma, true Dhamma, and learn the true Dhamma. So, while trying to be associated with the Kalyana Mitras, always try to practice truthfulness. Truthfulness is very interesting, very important. When you are always trying to speak the truth, then you feel very honest about you. You feel that you can practice more Dhamma, right? So try to make a lot of ways to practice Satya. Satya means truthfulness. Now, I always mention this. There is a Dhammapada stanza where it is said, 3 ways to become a Deva. If you want to become a Deva in your next life, you must practice 3 things. Number 1 is Satchang Bhane, speak the truth. Always speak the truth. But there may be challenges, like challenges such as you are surrounded by Papa Mitras. You can't speak the truth. They might criticize you, you can't survive, you can't stay with them. That's why we have to lay the groundwork. How to lay the groundwork? You are trying to be surrounded by the good people. So you don't have to do bad things. You don't have to make a lie. First thing is speak the truth. Second, Satchang Bani, na Pujjaya. Do not become angry all the time. We might be angry, but if we know that we are having anger, that is the good thing. Some people, they are not even understanding that they are angry. Try to minimize, reduce your anger. Do a self-reflection. Practice yoniso manasikara, wise attention, reflection, so that you are not going to get driven by so much anger. So, what do you mean by the second thing to become a Deva is understanding your anger, at the same time, lower your anger. Third thing is Dajja Pasmimpi Yanchito, give what you can. Be generous with what you can. We all have our affordability levels. Try to give what you can. So, speak the truth, not become angry, and give what you can. These 3 things will take you to become a Deva in next life. Now, even in this stanza, it is clear that what you call being truthful is a very, very important thing. Now, it is said that Shakyamuni Sambuddha had a special privilege when he was talking, when he was giving Dhamma talk. There is a blue lotus smell coming out from his mouth, because since he started practicing paramitas, perfections, he never lied to anybody. Right? Being very truthful about life is very, very important. So, I mean, that is a larger purpose. So, in your lay life, try to speak the truth all the time. But on the other hand, there may be a certain thing to think about. Technical lie, non-technical lie. There are sometimes situations where you have to be wise. Let's say you are going to speak the truth, then 2 people are going to fight each other. Right? In that case, you don't want them to be in fight. So you are going to say that maybe you are not going to talk about it. You are going to delay talking that truth. Maybe you may have to say something else. Why? You have to always make sure that there is enough safety for other beings' life. But one day you should be able to tell them the truth. Why did you say like that? Because I knew if I could tell that particular thing, I knew there would be a fight. There would be an unnecessary argument. Because I want to practice Panadipata, Veeraman, right? By practicing the fourth precept, I don't want to break the first precept, isn't it? You might keep the fourth precept, Musavada Veeramani, then because of that, you are going to break the first precept. So while you are keeping the fourth precept, you must also have the first precept. Because all these come as a set, right? So, Musavada Veeraman, Pativirato. Continue abstaining, speaking untrue, false, right? You look at a lot of information in today's world, a lot of misinformation, news, right? Probably wrong information. That's why you have to be very careful. Even when you do anything on social media, you have to be very careful whether you are sharing the truthful information. Sometimes you are sharing things that are untrue, and your people whom you trust also believe those things. Always try to look at whether I can create a truthful situation, this situation to all my activities. The last precept for a layperson to accomplish the Sila Sampada is Surameraya Majjapama Dattana. Let's take a look at that. It's a little bit longer one. Surameraya Majjapama Dattana. Did the Buddha ask Buddhists not to drink alcohol? Can a Buddhist drink alcohol? How do we understand this? Some people misunderstand this. Now, what we understand with Surameraya Majjapama Dattana means, Veeramani means, you are not going to drink any beverage, any drink, or eat any food that will cloud your mind to make a sound judgment. Let's say you are eating 2 plates of rice for your meals, and then you feel that you are asleep, you are drowsy, you don't have the proper mindset to talk to other people and behave well. And you are drinking even a soda drink, couple soda drinks, those soda drinks, a little bit feel out of the mind. This is Surameraya Majjapama Dattana. Then somebody is going to drink alcohol as well, concentrated or fermented. So what is to be understood with the Surameraya precept, let's go and see again here, is to avoid. Sura means what you call those drinks made from wheat flour. Meraya, these are concentrated, little bit stronger drinks. Surameraya, these 2 types of drinks will cause you Majja Pamada. Majja Pamada. Let's write it here. What will cause you with this Surameraya? Sura is one kind of drink, and Meraya is another kind of drink. These 2 will cause you Majja and Pamada. All right, let's understand these 2. What is Majja? What is Pamada? Majja? Majja means intoxication. Intoxication. Mother. Pamada means delay. Delay, I would say negligence. So when you are eating too much, when you are drinking too much, what will immediately cause you? What will that particular bad habit cause you? You will be intoxicated. You will be negligent of what you are doing. That is a really bad thing for our spiritual practice. That's why you are going to be very careful of eating, drinking, not to go to much intoxication. Intoxication, pamada, negligence. Atthana. Atthana means any opportunity, any platform where you are going to create intoxication and negligence with wheat flour drinks and concentrated drinks. You are going to avoid any of those platforms, situations. That means you have to be very concerned about the moderation. This is a very important Buddhist teaching. Buddha always told us, eat in moderation, drink in moderation. Right? The moderation part to the food and drinks could be different from one to one. But at least we have a self-discipline about eating, drinking. If all the people in this world are very much concerned about Sura Mere Manjapama Dattana, can it cut down 2/4 of the problem, 2/3 of the health problem, non-communicable problems, health diseases in the world? Yes, there will be no diabetes. There will be no heart issues. Why? Unless they are genetic. If they are coming from bad practices, bad eating, they will understand, I'm not going to eat too much. I'm going to eat the proper food, nutritious food, because I practice Sura Mere Manjapama Dattana. Because it's about the moderation. If people eat in moderation, they will never get sick. Very, very important. I think in today's world, everybody is health conscious. So that is what we are going to learn about Sura Mere. But unfortunately, a lot of people misunderstand. They are thinking not drinking alcohol is the Sura Mere Manjapama Dattana. Who is not drinking alcohol? Even when you drink syrup, cough syrup, you are drinking alcohol. Right? Even when you drink a lot of juices, you might drink some alcohol. It's about not drinking, not eating anything beyond the moderation. But of course, drinking alcohol is not good. That's a fact. So we are not supposed to. It's a personal choice. But not even drinking alcohol. Don't eat, don't drink anything too much. Even anything, even a normal food, anything else. So that's very important as a layperson. As a layperson, you are going to eat in moderation. That's what we understand by the fifth. What a wonderful way of practicing sila. Practicing a lot of metta in terms of panatipata. Practicing a lot of honesty about what you have, a lot of dana towards adinadana. Practicing adinadana. Not cheating on your better half, loving your person very much, truly, honestly. Not creating, not breaking thereby the kama sumichanchara. Being very honest about you, being very honest about what's happening and practicing musava, veramana. And eating, drinking in moderation and becoming a more, healthy person to feel the life and practice more Dhamma and one day going to die peacefully. This is how you're going to create Sila Sampada, accomplishment in Sila. Let's go see once again. Katamacha Gahapati Sila Sampada, householder, what is the accomplishment in, I would say, morality, Sila, Ida Gahapati, Arya noble disciple, you, Panatipata Pativiramukti. Not only practicing Panatipata, but also continue practicing Panatipata. Pati Virato, continue Pati. And then not even practicing Adinadana, but also keep practicing Adinadana, Viramani. Not only practicing Kamisamichachara, but also keep practicing the opposite of Kamisamichachara. Not only practicing Musavada Viramani, so keep practicing Musavada Viramani. Not only practicing the opposite of Sura Mere Manjapama Dattana, also keep practicing Sura Mere Manjapama Dattana, the opposite of that. And then this is how a layperson will accomplish, achieve the highest level, the provision, the full benefits of their sila. If lay people don't practice sila this way, they will never get to the provision to a level that they can feel that my sila is very wholesome. I can feel that my sila is growing and I feel I'm growing in my sila. All right, that's about today's discussion. Any questions now?
I have two questions today. One on the first precept, Panatipata, right? Like you explained a lot about the specification, but one is common question is about like pests at home. So, you know, if we have pests that might bother us, like mosquitoes, spiders, etc., that live around the house, kitchen, toilets, how do we think about that? And second question is on the order, right? Like 5 precept is given in a certain order, like Panatipata and then Adinadana, etc. Is there a reason for the order? Like how do we think about that sequencing? Thank you.
Yeah, very interesting questions. What can we do with regard to the pest? They call them uninvited guests in the house. But anyways, as a Buddhist, how to think about the pest? I initially understand and encourage you to think if your house is a clean place, if you are cleaning your house on a daily basis, you can minimize unnecessary pests to come out to your house. Very simple example is that if your house is a place where people eat everywhere and then dropping certain items, and then there are ants coming, even those small ones, right? So uh, we can minimize, we can prevent unnecessary pests coming onto our house, even mosquitoes. If you are closing your windows, if you are closing your doors, uh, there is a good chance of uh, preventing those ones to come into your house. But now, sadly, they have come inside. Maybe something has gone wrong in the household. Right? So now there are pests. You can't deal with the pests, and it will take you to certain unhealthy situations, isn't it? So you have to make a decision at that point. So if you ask me what to do with the pest, in case they come to your house, I always encourage, as a Buddhist idea, to keep your house clean and tidy. But now, if the pests have already come into your house, then you have to make a decision for that, right? Maybe you can chase them away. If it is not under your control, you may have to call a professional. That's how we're going to understand this pest issue. But we are trying to save as much as possible these pests. But don't invite them onto your house by making it a place for pests. That's number one, right? So we can do a lot of things to keep our house a clean and tidy place so that we are minimizing. But in case it happens, then you are going to chase them away. If that is not going to work, if things are not under control, definitely you have to go for a professional. There's no other reason. That's how I look at it. Number two, I'm being practical, huh? Talking from a practical sense. Number two, did you ask me about whether there is a gradual order of the precepts being given? I think yes. If you look at Panatipata, that is the worst, killing other beings and stealing. I think sexual misconduct equally important. I mean, but looking at stealing, I think stealing is more is worse than, and lying, and then Surameri. There's a probably an order of looking at the akusalas, but it doesn't mean that you only do one thing. That means you have to equally go to the five precepts. But Buddha, maybe that time, this was not given by the Buddha. So the teachers understood the most harmful akusala among lay people's life. That's why they may have given Panatipata as the first, and then the rest of the ones, gradually, eventually. In our practice, we are practicing all them together. But initially, now say for instance, we are living in a world now. What is the most challenging threat in today's world? Living safe, right? Safe living is such a challenge in today's world. There are a lot of killing happening, gun violence, stabbing, a lot of things are happening. We are always concerned about killings, right? I think that is number one top priority in every country nowadays. So I think that in that sense as well, we will see that Panatipata being the first one is very is making sense to us. So definitely there is an order. But just because there's an order, it doesn't mean that first is important, the rest of the four are unimportant. They are equally important. All right. There is no such thing as an attachment to the food. I think everybody is attached to the food. What is it said is eat in moderation. Whatever you eat, whatever you drink, because they are personal, customized things that people like to eat. There's no harm on that unless you think that it's good for you. But what the Suramereya precept brings up is to have a moderation in your food intake. That's very important, right? Being health conscious, eat in moderation. There's no such thing you can't eat a chocolate. You can eat a chocolate, but don't be chocoholic. Don't be chocoholic. Don't be too much into that. You are creating your own discipline, right? There's no such thing you can't eat rice, but you are going to eat in moderation. Now, moderation means quantity of the food, and you are concerned about the moderation level of your body. I think that's the only thing that Suramereya Majjhima Dattana brings up. Otherwise, there is no such thing that you cannot eat this and that. You have to, of course, we have to look at everything without having upadana, no upadana for anything. But there's no particular food, no particular drink that you have to avoid unless they are unhealthy. But the main thing to be concerned about Suramereya is to eat and drink in moderation. All right, I think now we are going to wrap this up, our Sutta discussion for today, by transferring on good karmas to departed ones and share good karmas with the Deva Naga. With that blessings, I'm wishing you a good night. Safe journey back home. We'll be seeing you next Monday to discuss about the Chaga Sampada, accomplishment in generosity. Have a good night. Thank you.